Welcome, everybody, live from San Miguel de Allende. Um, as I always do, I like to wait for people to hop on in. It takes a while sometimes. Hey, Wilfredo, how's it going? Hope everybody's having a great weekend. You too. Oh, and actually, Wilfredo, I was going to say I wasn't sure if the chat was going to work. Hi, Lisa, how are you doing? Um, Actually, I wasn't sure. Stephanie, how are you doing, Stephanie? I wasn't sure if the chat was going to work because I use a this widget thing, and actually, it's kind of like disappearing. So as everybody says something, it says something and then it disappears. But I'm going to take care of that later on. Um, it's not scrolling up like it should be, but next time it'll be scrolling up. So, and it actually, what's happening is it's disappearing after a second. I picked the wrong widget, I guess. And uh, like I always do, I'm going to take care of some housekeeping. Thanks a lot, Wilfredo, for on the graphics thing. um, just a couple of things before I get started. I always take care of housekeeping things. As you know, I'm doing this vlog thing from San Miguel. I'm coming to you from San Miguel. I have to change the description on my video platform on my description because I changed it back to Monterrey, but now we're here in San Miguel, and I'm going to change it. This is going to be our home base from now on. And just a couple of things. I had one incident, one apology that I have to make. Someone brought this to my attention, but every time I drink water here, sometimes when I swallow, I guess you can hear me because the microphone basically can pick it up, and it's kind of distracting. So I apologize and thank you. I forgot who brought it to my attention, but I'd like to thank you because that makes sure that I can mute the microphone before I go to take a drink of water. One thing that I have to explain to everybody is I have to drink water often because when I talk for a long period of time, I don't produce saliva like I used to because of my head and neck cancer. So I do have to drink water. So pardon me if I apologize if I have to drink water here, but also I will mute my microphone. So today, it's just like every other day. Ask me anything. I'm going to continue with the vlogs, the surprise vlogs. I haven't come out with any videos lately because I've been really busy settling back into San Miguel de Allende. Last week, I was part of a production crew that did a live stream of a blues artist here in San Miguel. I'm probably going to be working with that crew for every month. Once a month, they have an event. So I may be tied up with that. Also, I've been kind of tied up trying to develop this vlog thing that I'm doing with this live and surprise and everything else, trying to figure out where to take you guys and where to surprise you guys here in San Miguel de Allende. The other thing that I do have to clear up, I always clear up things. I had a Gringos R Us. Usually they're here, but I don't know if they're here today. But Gringos R Us posted a video, and someone decided about Merida, and someone decided to talk about the water being contaminated in Merida, and that everybody's getting cancer, and I don't know what all. I know the individual that posted that. He's an activist against, I don't know, he's really big into the water's contaminated and Lake Chapala's contaminated and all of this stuff. Long story short, there was a little bit of an argument going back and forth. I let it go a little bit, but this individual didn't want to let go. And one thing that I'm trying to foster here, and just like I said with my vlog video, is I want to create a community that's drama-free. And we don't need to be arguing. I do not tolerate political agendas. I don't care if it's an environmental agenda, a political agenda. Like I've told everybody comes here for a different reason. I don't care if you're conservative, if you're liberal. My goal is to help you make the right decisions when you come to Mexico. That's all. I try to keep politics out of it because sometimes it can get heated. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that next time you get on my Facebook group, you know what? If you have something good to say, help someone out, that's fine. If it's a negative comment, there's no such thing as all happy go lucky positive comments. But unless it's a constructive comment, please don't bring your political views to my Facebook page and also to my YouTube channel, because this is not what we're here for. We're here to help each other out. So that's one thing. The other thing too is I kind of gotten a lot of flack because I went on a tirade the last time about YouTube and expat services. I want to make something clear with all of that stuff. Hey, jet lag. Hey, Henry, how are you doing? I have nothing against individuals making money off of YouTube. I really don't. That was not my purpose. I wasn't just talking about YouTube channels. I'm talking about expat services. What I do have a problem with is individuals preying on people that are coming here to make money. Are preying on people, and they're preying on people and scamming people just to make money. And a lot of these people are either YouTubers, they could be expat services. There are a lot of legitimate YouTubers out there that are trying to make a living. They're hustling. I don't have anything against that. What I do have is when they start getting to the point where they are releasing information that's misleading in order to make money, or in order to say, hey, Jay Gomez, or information in order to gain credibility, or make a mistake in their information. I've always told you I have no problem in saying I was wrong, but I've called out several of these people. Hey, Gringos Ross, I was just talking about you. And I have no problem, but a couple of times I've called these people out, and instead of trying to say, hey, I'm sorry, it was an honest mistake, they've tried to cover it up. The other thing I have a problem with is individuals that are peddling products. A lot of times on YouTube, there's this little thing that comes out in the little left-hand corner that says paid promotion, and it disappears in about 5 seconds. And then these individuals go on as if they've discovered this great product, which they're either gotten paid to push, or they're getting money every time that you purchase the product. Now, I've been in YouTube for a long time. What most tech reviewers do, anybody that watches your iPhone reviews or anything else, they're very transparent. They tell you, Apple sent me this iPhone so that I can review. This is my opinion, and I got this for free. They're transparent, and that's what I'm looking for in this business. The problem is that many people in this business have tried to break in and into making money, which there's nothing wrong with that. We live in a society of entrepreneurs. I want that clear. I see nothing wrong with that. What I do see wrong with is some of the information that's misleading. When someone corrects them, they either hide them from Facebook or hide them from YouTube. I've seen this very common. There's one Facebook group that's very famous for it. They'll hide you if you say anything opposite of what they say, instead of just saying, okay, you're right, or maybe you have a point. That's what I'm trying to foster here, is a community that we can help each other out, and you know what the consequences are. Whether it be good positive or negative. I always remind people, when you're taking advice from anybody, you're going to have to make a decision. And that's what's important, is that you make that decision and you're well informed. Because in the end, the consequences of that decision are on you. They're not on me. They're not. You can use my advice all you want, but the one that's going to be affected by the decisions are you. The other thing is that someone was talking about, I'll give you a perfect example. On my Facebook group, another person said, hey, I'm a Mexican citizen. I came in, I guess, not a Mexican, born in Mexico, but born American parents. And I was only given 90 days when I presented my U.S. passport. And the first response was, Americans get 180 days. Like it's automatic. It's not automatic. That's what people need to understand. And because you've seen a YouTube video that says, oh, don't worry, they're not doing that anymore, everybody gets 100, that's experiences that they know of or whatever. But this person posted on mine, and he was even saying, I was born in Mexico. Why are they only giving me 90 days? And I'm like, hey, unfortunately, well, he couldn't get he was having an issue with his name matching. And we were giving him some solutions on how he could get his Mexican. Actually, he's a Mexican citizen by birth. So we were telling him, hey, dude, you're Mexican, so you can go and you can get your well, he says, well, I'm having an issue because my names aren't matching. And, this is where you need to understand. If someone tells you, and I get it, if you have to run to the border every 180 days, do it. That's not what I'm trying to prevent you from doing. What I'm trying to prevent is you ending up at the border and someone just saying, sorry, you can't come in, or you only got 30 days, or you only got 7 days, because things have changed all of a sudden from today to tomorrow. Those individuals aren't with you. Those individuals aren't, it's your experience. The decisions you make to move to Mexico, it's a life-changing experience. And that's what's important. And please don't take me, I'm not trying to trash any other YouTube channel. I don't care. My goal is, we all need to be honest. We have a responsibility. All of us as anybody that gets on YouTube, anybody that provides you a service, we have a responsibility. And you know what? Just because I don't charge, just because I give free consultations, just because my YouTube channel is free, does not make me any better than anybody else. I have decided, and this is a personal decision on me, not because I want to be better than anybody or anything else. My personal decision was, I don't want to make this about profit or ego, so that you know that there's no motivation other than trying to help you move to Mexico or travel to Mexico. So with that being said, we're 17 minutes in, and I think we got enough people in here. So hold on, I'm going to mute it for just a second. And now let's get to why we're here. Now, let's see here. Jay, keep it up. Exposure of those people is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Jay. And you know what? Even I'll tell you what, some of these YouTubers, even exposure on certain situations, I will tell you right now, I even reached out to one YouTuber. He said, I'll take the video down. That's what I respect. What I don't respect is people that will say, oh, well, I don't know, hide it. Let's delete any negative comments on my page, or somebody trying to correct me. Let's delete it. I don't agree with that. Moy, any experience with buying a used car from a dealership in Mexico? Anybody? Actually, Moy, I've never bought we purchased a vehicle brand new. We purchased it from a dealership. Used cars here in Mexico are kind of a mixed bag. You need to be very careful here in Mexico. There's no regulations on used vehicles. Probably if you come from the United States, or I don't know about Canada, or I don't know about UK or anywhere else, but used cars can also, when you get them on a lot, they clean it up real nice, and it could have problems. And so it's kind of the same way over here. You want to make sure you find a reputable dealer. Now, buying a used car from another individual, like private individual, unless you know them, sometimes maybe it might be another expat that says, hey, I bought this car and I'm moving back home, or and I want to sell it, then it's in good condition. But I will tell you, actually, my wife, her father bought her a car one time, actually from a friend, to be honest with you. It was a used car, and the thing didn't have brakes. She almost ended up not being with us today because of that. So you need to be very careful. I would also suggest being able to have a mechanic look at it. And here's the other thing. I'll give you an example too of my niece. that my brother-in-law purchased a car. She's going to college there in Monterrey. They bought a Mercedes at a dealership. We're so used to at a dealership, they do all the paperwork. Well, and I think I've talked about this before about Mexican bureaucracy, but when they purchased the vehicle, they got the title, but it had Querétaro plates. So my brother-in-law, thinking that it was going to be very simple, decided, okay, we're going to take it and we're going to just go down and register the car in Nuevo León. I have all the paperwork. And it became a 3-month nightmare to try to get new plates for the vehicle. So you need to be aware of those things. Make sure if you're buying it from a dealer, Moy, if you're buying that vehicle from a dealer, you know what? I have a bad habit of taking the thing off. I'm kind of OCD about keeping the screen clean. I'm sorry, Moy. I'm going to keep the questions up a little bit more. But if you are, just make sure that the dealer, and actually we looked up the law later on, being that my brother-in-law is a lawyer, later on, the dealer's supposed to take care of that for you. But we didn't know any better. He didn't know any better at the time. And by the time he couldn't really go back to the dealer and say, take care of this now. The dealer's just basically said, see ya. Thank you very much for paying me because I already got my money and I don't care. So, and my brother, being a lawyer, could have probably, I'm going to take you to court. But here in Mexico, you need to understand taking someone to court is a big deal. It costs a lot of money. It's a long process, and it's not like there's no small claims court, and anybody, that tries to do anything. As a matter of fact, it's funny because people look at you and go, what are you going to do? Sue me? Go ahead. It's going to take 10 years or 20 years. Actually, I'll be dead by the time you even collect. So, that's what happened with my brother. My brother-in-law couldn't do anything. Gringos are us. We've been approached a couple of times, and if we don't feel that is a good product, we pass. It's hard to live up to someone like Mariana from Mexico Relocation Guide. Exactly. Like I said, Gringos R Us has a good point. If you're going to endorse a product or you're going to endorse something that, I myself endorse Mexico Relocation Guide. I don't get paid anything for it. But even if I did get paid an affiliate link or she sponsored my videos, I'm upfront. I'm honest. This is what it is. And this is a person that makes money. So I'm not against expat services. I'm not, as a matter of fact, I recommend them all the time, different ones. I've even recommended 1 or 2 expat services that I actually recommended 1 or 2 expat services that I've actually called out in videos. I've actually recommended YouTubers that I've called out in videos. So it's not a matter of, it's a matter of, just seeing where they're coming from. And even if someone's pushing a product, if that product is good, then, hey, yeah, go for it. Even if, I don't know, someone has an affiliate or sponsored video from Mexico Relocation Guide, that they have a reputation and you're going to go buy the guide and that this YouTuber is going to make some money off the guide. Nothing wrong with that. It's great because they're pushing a product that's legitimate, that's honest. And for example, I use Mariana a lot as an example. She checks her sources. As a matter of fact, a couple of times I've even she's called me and texted me, hey, do you know anything about this? Do you know anything about that? I've texted her. So she checks up all those sources. She just doesn't go and blurt something out. And then all of a sudden, and even when it's incorrect, she's and actually I had one viewer say that they had some problems with somebody in the guide. And I talked to her about it. And she said, okay, no, if that person, if my customers have problems with somebody in the guide, they're out. So that's the kind of business that I like to see. Not somebody that tries to mislead you, not someone that tries to, I don't know, or after the fact tries to hide they made a mistake. There's nothing wrong. We all make mistakes. All of us are human. Wilfredo, why is it when the zero MEX goes up versus the US dollar, it takes a long time, and when it is all the way around. It takes only a couple of days to lose ground. Well, Wilfredo, all I can tell you is it's a very volatile market right now with everything. The economy's just, and then we have conflicts going on. That's probably affecting a lot of things too. Hold on here. And Gringos Are Us. You have to be able to look at the person in the mirror every day and be pleased with that person. That's exactly. And that's why, like I said, I'm pleased with what I see every morning when I wake up, because I know that I'm trying to do the right thing. That's what, you know what, when we're in business, I mean, period. I believe in business, you have a responsibility to the customer. And if you have that responsibility, you keep up with that responsibility, then your customer is going to be happy, and you'll be able to be honest, and that's what counts, and that's what's going to bring you more business. That your reputation. Oh, Henry, that's 100% true. Above Mexico Relocation Guide. So, thank you, Henry, for your comment there, but confirming that Mexico Relocation Guide is a good resource. But any other questions that you may have? Let me see here. I got 25. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick, just real quick. And someone has a very good point. When YouTube is a sole income source, creators may feel pressured to align their content with specific agendas to maintain income, potentially limiting content diversity and authenticity. That is very, very true. And I'm proud to say that came from my beautiful wife, but it's very true. And that's what I hold to. Many times, that content will align with what people want to hear. Not, you know what? This is what I always say. I give you the information you need to hear, not the information that you want to hear. And sometimes I give you information that you want to hear too. But the reason why I give you information is that you need to hear is because I want you to make that informed decision. I don't want you to be misled. And I don't want you to think, and a lot of times, exactly what my wife said, their content is limiting to their audience and its authenticity. And sometimes the authenticity is just playing with words. That's true. There are a lot of channels that are not around anymore because of that lack of income. Exactly, Gringos Are Us. But that authenticity, for example, I'm going to give you this, and I did several videos on it. Someone came out and made a claim that you could get residency because there's a special law that says that all you have to do is be retired. That caused all sorts of rigmarole. I corrected these two individuals that put this content out. They refused. As a matter of fact, they were adamant. It came from a lawyer, so supposedly it was legitimate. Although the lawyer said, yeah, but there's a catch. And then I came on live, and I told you, this is how the law works. Yes, there's a law. This is what the law says. I gave the section and everything else. And I said, yes, but there's also another set of laws called the Reglamentos de Migración that tell how to enforce the first law to begin with. Well, another YouTuber, Arahihik, decided he was going to do a video. He even suggested that people go to the consulate with the law, print it out, and educate the consulate officer on the law so that they could get residency, and it caused all sorts of issues. And I know for a fact the consulate started to complain. People started going in droves to the consulate. And I even called that individual out, JB Travels, not JB Travels, JB's Adventures. And someone even put a comment, JB, someone called you out. What do you have to say? What do you have to respond? That comment was deleted. He hasn't taken the video down. I know another individual at Ajijic that took the video down right away when I made my live. And then this YouTuber who released the information to begin with decides to bring his lawyer back on, and he was proud. I'm talking proud. He even said, I quote, "I blew up the internet." And then they went on to prove about this law, which I already told everybody what the law was. But then they went on with the lawyer to say, and the lawyer even went on to say that it's up to the consulate, blah, 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 blah. Exactly what everybody had been correcting them on. But never was there an admission of guilt. Never was there I'm sorry. Never was to the public. No, I was right. And I blew up the internet. Good for me. See, that's not the way to conduct business. The way to conduct business is to say, you know what? I made a comment. This is the law. Yes, there's a law, but this is how it works. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not putting down YouTubers. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying, hey, give out accurate information. And that was misleading information. It wasn't false. It wasn't untrue, but it was information that people wanted to hear. Oh my God, I can get residency because I don't qualify. When they didn't even know. And then, like I even said, those YouTubers aren't with you when you show up to the consulate and are embarrassed because they look at you like you're crazy. You know, they don't have to show up with you. So that's what we, and that's what I try to say is, I'm here to do content for you. That's what I'm here to do. I don't do this, like I said, if you don't like it, even push the dislike button. It helps me get the word out on YouTube. It also helps me do a better job. I take criticism. As a matter of fact, if I was so upset with somebody telling me that I don't know, my microphone was going off when I was drinking water. If you didn't tell me, nobody tells me I didn't know. And, I need to improve. That's just the way it is. I want to give you the best product that I can. Okay. Jim's Home Comforts. If you've never been to Mexico, where would you locate based on budget, food, cost of living, medical, safety, not necessarily near the beach? Jim, I think, to be honest with you, I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna give you this the answer I always give everybody, and it's not really the best answer. Is it depends, Jim. One of the things about Mexico is that, yes, if you want to go live somewhere based on affordability and based on budget, I think, this is my honest opinion, is that you can go pretty much almost anywhere in Mexico. I will say places like Monterrey, Mexico are very, 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 very expensive. Almost, as a matter of fact, we compare the prices in Monterrey to South Texas. Now, it's cheaper than the United States. I'm still better off in Monterrey than I am in the United States. But South Texas, which is very affordable cost of living, we go to the grocery store and it's the same that we used to pay in South Texas, which South Texas is a lot cheaper than the rest of the nation. One of the cheapest places in the nation to live, in as far as cost of groceries and everything else. So, but for example, I'll give you an example, Jim. I live in San Miguel de Allende. Some people will argue that San Miguel de Allende is one of the most expensive places to live here in Mexico. I just did a video. You can take the equivalent of $20 and buy 2 weeks worth of vegetables here. Okay? So you can live here affordably. Can you find an affordable rental? Yes, you can. What you want to do, can you find affordable? For example, we buy our meat and everything else locally. Medical, we're right down the street from Querétaro. if I have a medical emergency. Safety, San Miguel's very safe. But it all depends what is good for you, because San Miguel's kind of a colonial town. If you want to rent for very inexpensive, you're going to have to give up a little bit of luxury versus maybe another place that might be the same amount in rent. Also, Gringos R Us also actually has some advice. They've been traveling all throughout the United States. I mean, not the United States, Mexico. And they've been to all sorts of different places, and they're doing videos. But they said, based on our experience, Querétaro and San Luis Potosí are two great places and great landing spots. And the one thing is that I think, and that's why we're trying about 30 different cities to find our retirement home. So to get back to what you're saying, Jim, what you need to do first, I think, and this is just like you said, not necessarily the beach. You don't like the beach? Then start kind of researching Mexico. For example, here in San Miguel de Allende, we're kind of higher up. We're in the highlands of Mexico. So you're going to have the altitude. Hey, if altitude's not for you, hey, move on to another place. Querétaro happens to be Querétaro happens to be a big city, but it's not too big. It's not Monterrey. It's not Guadalajara. A lot of Americans and expats from all over the world, actually, Koreans. There's a lot of foreigners there in Querétaro, a younger crowd. So Querétaro is a good place to land, as Gringos R Us was saying. And San Luis is a great place too. Cost of living is manageable. And what I'm trying to say is, I guess, focus on the experience of where you want to go and then kind of build your budget around that. Because, for example, let's say you like San Miguel de Allende. It's all about, what I talk about is expectations. It's all about your expectations. How do you expect to live? I know plenty of people here in San Miguel de Allende that are happy in a one-bedroom, not even an apartment. They're renting a room at somebody's house. They love it. They walk downtown, but you may not want to live in a room. And that, I don't know, $400 or $300 you're paying for a room, you want more. So you might be able to get more in San Luis for that same $300 or $500, if that makes sense, Jim. So, I think what's most important is to find out what kind of suits you. And I think you can pretty much, the thing about Mexico is Mexico's very affordable in a lot of ways. Now, inflation is going up. Things are getting more expensive. Here in San Miguel de Allende, we just went to the grocery store and we were like, wow, we're paying a lot more for groceries than we were a year and a half ago when we were here. I'm still better off than I am in the United States. Now, we also purchase a lot of creature comforts. So, if you have more of a budget, you're going to have to sacrifice here and there. But if you love the town, that's what's important. That's one thing that I've learned in retirement. It's the experiences that count. And Mérida and San Miguel de Allende are now very similar in cost. Yes, they are. Actually, Mérida can be a little bit more expensive when you look at your air conditioning bill. So, and Cindy, Cindy, shout out to Gringos R Us. And also, thank you. Hold on. My beautiful wife says, Gringos R Us, your content is amazing and authentic, and I love it. I want to make sure they get that Gringos R Us. Jay Gomez at Yamilet. Excellent point. We work hard to get a good pension, only looking for information to live a better quality of life. A lot of these people haven't been able to make it in the USA. Yes, actually, that's very true. Jay, and they also come here thinking this is YouTube's their only source of income, and they think they can make it. And some people have, and some people haven't. So, Lobo, great to see you. Keep it up. Oh, thank you, Lobo. And thanks for showing up. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything is going great. Gringos are us. The state of Yucatan is dealing with the highest rate of inflation in Mexico. Actually, Gringos are us is very true. Very true. They are. Hold on just one second. Just excuse me. Yes, Yucatan. The reason why Yucatan is suffering a very large inflation right now is because all of that area, especially more towards like Cancun, Playa del Carmen, those are all tourist areas. They're service-based areas for tourists. So their consumption is a little bit different. Their supply chain a little bit different than the rest of the country. So what you're going to start seeing is a rise in prices. Merida used to be the best kept secret kind of thing. Beautiful place to live. And it's a very beautiful colonial town, but it is getting expensive. Actually, probably it's been hit by inflation worse than a lot of other places. And probably the cost, probably if you look at a video from a year ago or a year and a half ago where they're telling you could live in Merida for $300 a month is probably not true anymore. You do need a lot of money. And Jim, that helps. I'm 67 from Canada, and it's very expensive. Not to mention the Canadian dollar is very weak against the American dollar. Yeah, Jim. I'll tell you what. A lot of the people from Canada. I will tell you where a lot of people from Canada settle that I know of. Mazatlan, but that is the beach, or it's the Pacific side. A lot of Canadians, actually, that used to, I didn't know this, Bill the Geek. Thank you, Bill Dallas Lewis, for letting me know this. I didn't even know this, but it used to be actually a Canadian vacation spot for the longest time. A lot of Canadians go there. I guess one feedback that I get from a lot of Canadians is that it's kind of cold. They want to get away from the winters there. San Miguel's a great place in the sense. Querétaro's also a good place. Querétaro's probably about 40 minutes away from San Miguel, 35 minutes, 40 minutes away. So if you want the big city vibe, cool. If you want something more cozy, San Miguel's great. Also, San Luis is a great option. And there are a lot of Canadians here, actually. Believe it or not, here in San Miguel de Allende, it's funny because we went to City Market and I said, one of the few places in Mexico that everybody speaks English. I mean, literally, everybody, everywhere we went now, where we went, excuse me, is basically geared towards foreigners. But, a lot of things you're going to see everybody. I mean, literally everybody was having conversations in English. I felt like I was back in the United States, to be honest with you. So there are a lot of Canadians that come here. But it all depends. We have kind of San Diego-ish weather. I don't know if you've ever been to San Diego. You're from Canada. But kind of, it got warm in the daytime, but in the evening, right now, it'll get down in the 60s, 50s. The winter time, it'll get down. For you, being from Canada, trust me, in the wintertime, it's going to be nothing. It's going to be fresh for you. But it will get cold for some of you that are used to a hot climate. So that's another thing to take into consideration, Jim, is making sure that you pick a place that's good for you, and then try to build your budget around that. I don't know what your budget is, but I think you can, living even in a place that's quote expensive like San Miguel, like I said, you can get here, you can come here affordably. And that's one of the things on my vlogs that I'm trying to do with San Miguel. I live here, so I'm doing it with San Miguel. But I kind of want to make a point with all of Mexico. If you do certain things, you can live affordably. And then I'm also going to go to some places where, hey, I'm in San Miguel and it cost me $100 for dinner or whatever it might be. Um, and I'll show you what you get for the $100. But at the same time, say, okay, well, if you want this kind of life or you want this, then you can have this. But you don't necessarily have to have this expensive to have a great time. You can have this also that's very affordable. So it all balances out. Now, healthcare, what I would say, Jim, is stick around somewhere with it. And also the other good thing about San Miguel de Allende, Querétaro, and they're both very close to Mexico City, and they're also very close to Guadalajara. Those Mexico City and Guadalajara, the three top places for healthcare here in Mexico are Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. Not necessarily in that order. Those are your best places to get any kind of that's the best places to get medical care. So if you want to locate somewhere close to one of those places, that like Chapala's close to Guadalajara, Ajijic close to Guadalajara. Oh, let's see. Just had issues with INM Reynosa because I won Jefe, but now have a lawyer to deal with these issues. Always thank you for your honest and noble information and really want the truth. And Lobo Solo, keep trucking. I know you've had a couple of issues here. Don't let that stop you. Keep going. That's what I always tell. I was just speaking to someone the other night, and I said I want my audience to be there's this statistic that 50% of foreigners that come here to move here go back home or go back to another country or leave to another country. And I want my viewers to be the 50% that stay. That's the bottom line. Also here in Progreso, there's a lot of Canadian expats. Yeah. You know what? I don't know. That, like I said, I didn't even know Mazatlan was very, very, very popular with Canadians, actually. I was totally floored. Bill, I did an interview, and I still mean to get back with Bill. I did an interview with Bill a while back online, and I ended up, when we were moving to Monterrey, we moved all our stuff. I had some hard drives. I wiped one of my computers so I could put it in Monterrey in the studio, and the recording of my interview with Bill was gone. And I've been telling Bill we need to get back together. I've been busy. He sometimes is busy, but I'm going to interview Bill again. But that was while I was interviewing him, that's when he told me, oh, one of the best places for Canadian. This is a big place for Canadian. And Jim, I definitely want to mingle with Mexicans. Actually, Jim, that's probably your best bet. That's the most important part about moving here to Mexico is becoming part of the culture. The culture is the most important thing and especially enjoying the culture. There's going to be a lot of things that frustrate you. There's a lot of things and you know what? I have heard a lot of people say, I'm not frustrated. I've never been frustrated. Mexico's the best place in the world. Trust me, we're all humans. We all get frustrated. We get frustrated no matter where we're at. We get frustrated back home in the United States or in Canada or in the UK or wherever we're at, we get frustrated. The frustrations are just different. I've gotten frustrated here in Mexico with different things. But you have to adapt, and you have to remember this is what I chose to where I chose to be, and that's what's important. Is you can overcome those frustrations. You can always overcome those frustrations, and once you overcome those frustrations, they're no different than the frustrations that you might have anywhere else, back home, and they're just different kinds. You just have to deal with them. And actually becoming part of the culture is a beautiful thing. And that's the most important thing that you can do is even learning Spanish. you know, uh, there's different views on this learning Spanish thing. And one of the things that I told somebody on learning Spanish is the fact that you just try. Um, you may never get good at it. You may never, you know what? I was born into a Spanish-speaking family. Spanish was, believe it or not, Spanish was my first language that I ever spoke as a baby. I got into the U.S. school system and then never spoke Spanish again until I grew up. And so my Spanish is not perfect. I still make a ton of mistakes when speaking Spanish. Uh, Maybe if you hear me on my lives, my surprise live, I sound pretty good that I know what I'm saying. But even a couple of times I've caught myself making a mistake when I'm speaking. It sounds good, maybe to you guys, but I made a couple of grammatical mistakes. But I speak it and I don't get embarrassed to speak it. And that's what's important is once you overcome maybe the embarrassment that maybe I'm going to say something wrong or they're looking at me funny because I said something wrong. Sometimes maybe you're going to say something wrong and everyone's going to laugh and you're going to laugh with them. So, that's, and the best way to learn is mingle with other people that are from here. Angie, I'm heading back to Mexico in early December, beginning in Monterrey. Are there any areas that stand out as unsafe? Right now, Angie, the only thing that I would say unsafe wise, Monterrey is a big city, so you need to be careful in what areas you go in Monterrey. Um, Now, Laredo is always a hotbed. All of those, that whole area from South Texas, from Brownsville all the way up to Eagle Pass is pretty much, I wouldn't cross there, but people still insist on crossing there. All I say is just to be careful. Um, I wouldn't say any places, every place is, you're not going to find a place that's totally safe. But I think that everything, as long as you stay away from, I think most of the problems are on the border right now. We did cross through the area of Matawala that I was telling you about that we drove through, and there's a lot of security there now. I wouldn't deem it safe because, I mean, there's a reason why there's a lot of security there. But at the same time, I think just using common sense. And if you're going to go to the large cities and don't, now there's some states that I wouldn't travel to. Actually, some places in Sonora and some places in Sinaloa, I wouldn't go to. Mazatlan is okay, but those are those areas. But I don't think you're talking more towards the north, towards the east. So I think you'll be okay as long as you stick to most of the major places like San Luis or Monterrey. And when you go to Monterrey, it's going to be like New York, going to New York City in a sense. It's just more spread out. It's not like New York City that it's all, Mexico City is more like New York City. But you should be okay. But I always advise people to be careful, just have common sense, and just go by those rules that I give everybody. Don't drive at night. Drive on the toll roads. If you're going to go through Laredo, make sure you go through the escort. Take the escort through. Don't go through the Columbia Bridge if you're going to go through Laredo, which I don't advise going through Laredo, but still, if you insist and it's the only way, then take those precautions. Okay. I go through, literally, I cross through Reynosa. That's not the best place to cross. I wouldn't advise anybody to cross where I crossed through. But I take certain precautions. Lobo Solo, you've gone to Reynosa a bunch of times. You know Reynosa. So there's a difference. I know Reynosa kind of sort of in the sense that I grew up right on the other side of the border, Reynosa. So there's a lot of factors that play into your safety, but it's all about common sense. And Lobo, thank you. I wish more would watch your truthful videos. You have no hidden agendas like many others doing videos. Yes, I have no hidden agendas. I do this. Actually, the other day, I do this just to help people out, and it's great to say thank you. I mean, these thank yous, just like yours, Lobo, that's what makes me keep going. I had someone else in San Miguel. We went out Actually, the production that I was involved in, the guy that owns the theater had invited us out, and someone just came up to me and says, "Hey, I appreciate everything you do." And I said, I told him, "Hey, this is why I do it. Um, you know, I, I thank you for appreciating it, but I do it just to know that I helped you out, and that's good to know that I help you out." Oh, Angie, you're referring to Monterey specifically. Yes, stay out of the. What I would do, Angie, to be honest with you, stick to San Pedro, and San Pedro is kind of like the Beverly Hills of Monterrey. Um, then there's a lot of sites to see, like the Fundadora, which is used to be a steel mill. That's totally safe. It's a park. And the other place that you might want to go is downtown. There's a lot of historical sites and museums downtown. Just go during the day. Do not go at night because there's nightclubs there, and not the best of people hang out there at night. But most of the historical parts, for example, the steel mill that you're going to see, you're going to be told about. Uh, and then of course you want to go to San Pedro because that's where the Lamborghinis are, and the Porsches, and the Bentley dealership, and the Lamborghini dealership, and that's where yes, you can say that there's a Lamborghini dealership in Mexico. Um, and that's in Monterrey and San Pedro. So you want to probably stick around those areas. There's a Passion Drive, and there's a lot of places to eat in the San Pedro area. You want to stay away from places like San Nicolas, Guadalupe, those places. But those really aren't touristy places. So if you're asking like, hey, where do I go visit to be a tour? You're not tourist. I'm not saying you're going to be a tourist, but you're just looking around. I would think you would want to see more of the historical parts, the Palace of the Governors downtown, or where the Congress meets downtown. They have tours, stuff like that. Just as long as you stay in those areas, you'll be fine. Most of our frustrations here in Mexico are due to our lack of Spanish skills. That is self-imposed and keeps us from being able to fully enjoy the culture. But you know what, Gringos are us. I, I, I might agree with you, but I also disagree because I've seen your videos and I've seen your efforts that you've tried to make, and I think maybe you think it's limiting you, but I think you're experiencing Mexico the way it should be experienced. And you might get frustrated in the sense that you want to be able to speak just like you speak, like I'm speaking right now. I want to be able to speak like that in Spanish. It doesn't come right away. The more practice you get, the more you understand, the more you feel less uncomfortable. But I think you guys, I have to actually disagree with you guys as far as I know it's frustrating, but I think you guys are fully enjoying the culture. You're starting to enjoy it. And you'll find, I'm almost sure you've already found that when you try to say something, pretty much they're pretty good with trying to help you out. I know a woman that has relocated to Merida recently. She tried to order a hamburger out someplace and she couldn't speak Spanish and started crying because she got frustrated. Yes, it's frustrating, Buck. Buck stops here. It is frustrating. I have to agree. Um, Excuse me for 1 second. Just one more drink. I hope I'm doing a good job at the mic, and I hope it's not picking up too many distracting sounds. But yes, it can get frustrating, and that's one thing that you want to do. Maybe I always suggest is try to take some conversational Spanish. Pimsleur was a good one that I learned Portuguese with, but it's all based on just basic conversational stuff. Um, and it's really hard, and it really is, and that's what happens sometimes when you get here. what happens is a lot of times people are sold a bill of goods. Oh, come to Mexico. It's cheap. It's affordable. It's perfect. And actually, I've even heard YouTubers say, oh, most Mexicans speak English. Almost all Mexicans speak English. All Mexicans are educated. All Mexicans. I've heard this. I've actually heard this on YouTube videos. And then you come to find out, you go to a local hamburger stand. And yeah, Mexicans speak English. There's a lot of Mexicans that are educated. A lot. I mean, believe it or not. Contrary to popular belief, there's a stereotype that all Mexicans are either the gardener or the maid. Unfortunately, we've run into that type of stereotype, my wife and I, and that's not true. My wife has a master's. My wife's more educated than I am, to be honest with you. As far as degree wise, she went to a more prestigious university than I did. And actually, she worked for an agency that has probably more prestige than the agency that I finished off with. So, but many people look at her and like, oh, so you, as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna even call him out. Jordan from Tangerine Travels made a comment. You and your Mexican girlfriend, like my wife married me for her green card or something, or I married this local Mexican poor girl. And it's like, do you not understand? My wife has a master's degree. My wife went to one of the finest universities, probably equivalent to MIT or Harvard here. Do you not understand that not everybody is is a stereotype? But you may go to a local hamburger stand, and majority of my wife's friends speak English that she went to school with. But if I go to a local hamburger stand, maybe the guy doesn't speak English. Not everybody speaks English, and you might get frustrated. But the part of it is once you get over that initial frustration and you come back. You know what I used to do when I went to I'll give you an example. When I went to Brazil, I was trying to learn Portuguese. And believe me, Portuguese is not Spanish. And I took my dry cleaning to the dry cleaner, and I rehearsed what I was going to say to the dry cleaner to take my dry cleaning. And I rehearsed in Portuguese, and I looked it up. I rehearsed. At the time, we didn't have Google Translate. The internet was still coming. The internet was here, but it wasn't as advanced. I rehearsed 20 million times on how I was going to drop off my laundry. So I get there, tell them in Portuguese that, can you please, how much is it? And the next thing you know, blah, 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 at 100 miles an hour, and I didn't understand a word. And I just stood there looking at them like this. And they looked at me and said, Espanol? And I said, yes. And they spoke to me in Spanish. So, and then I was frustrated because I was like, I had practice. But once I got over that, then that's when I started, like, I don't care if I make a fool out of myself when I speak Portuguese. As a matter of fact, I had meetings with some of the most important people. I mean, we're talking about the Supreme Court in Brazil. I sat in on meetings with Supreme Court justices, and my Portuguese skills were not that of a expert, but they understood. I always prefaced with the fact that I don't speak very well in Portuguese, and they knew because, of course, I was there. I was an American. So those are the things that you need to be able to get over, because talking to a Supreme Court justice can be pretty intimidating. But once you get over that, and especially in a different language, and tell your friend that just to keep practicing. And you know what? Go back to your hotel room and figure out how to say, I want a hamburger in Spanish. And then go back and then try it again. And the more times you try, and if you get over that fear, instead of getting discouraged, you'll be fine. And she'll be fine, and she'll love it here in Mexico once she figures out that it's a great place to live. That's Etiquette. It is the truth. Most people do not like him calling it as it is, but the truth is the truth. He has always gave Great, truthful advice. Thank you, Louisville. I'm trying to. You're flying in? Oh, Angie, you're flying in? Just take, you're going to fly into the airport in Monterrey. Just take there's plenty of taxis. Here's the thing about Monterrey. When you come out of the baggage claim, there's an official place where you can pay. You can tell the taxi where you want to go. You pay up front. You get a ticket. You go outside and you get in an official taxi. There are Ubers there at the airport, but I would take an official taxi to wherever you're going. And I guess Cindy K was confirming what Lobo Solo was saying. Yeah, Reynosa can be exactly, Lobo Solo. Reynosa can be dangerous. Just use caution. Yes, and I wouldn't suggest anybody go through Reynosa, especially. I wouldn't suggest that in the sense that unless you really know. I grew up down there. I'm not originally from there, but I grew up down there, and I also worked down there. 90% of my job. Actually, out of my whole career, out of the 30 years, I probably worked, I would say half my career down on the southwest border, between Brownsville, McAllen, and Laredo. Wow, small world. I lived in South Texas for 3 years. Reynosa, Hidalgo, Paro, Weslaco, Edinburgh, McAllen. Attended Pan American University in South Texas. Actually, I'm a graduate of Pan American University. Believe it or not, buck stops here. I'm an actual graduate. My father actually retired the vice president. That's why we were down there in the valley. And actually, Pan American is now University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. When I graduated, it was University of Texas Pan American. And when we first got there, and my dad first started working there, it was Pan American University. And yes. And here's one. My wife is actually from Monterrey. So Angie, here goes she can tell you a little bit more about Monterrey than I can. Monterrey is as safe as any large city can be. Stick to the most populated areas. In Monterrey, everything depends on your budget, the quality of hotels, the restaurants, etc. And then that's exactly what I was saying. Thank you. That's what I was saying as far as stick to places like San Pedro. Of course, if you want to go sightseeing, downtown, the steel mill. Ernie, what time did this start? I thought it was 6 p.m. Central. Yes, I started at 6. We're an hour behind, and it's 7 p.m. Central. It started an hour and 7 minutes ago, so that would have been 6 p.m. Central. I'm in San Luis Potosí, and we're Central Time, I thought. Actually, Karen, I'm not sure about San Luis. I don't think San Luis. I'll tell you why you're probably under the mistake here. I'm not sure about San Luis, but Mexico doesn't change daylight savings time, except for the borders in certain areas of Mexico. So, like here in San Miguel de Allende, right now it's 6:03, but it's not Central Time. It's actually 6:03, 7:03 Central Time. So if you're at 6 o'clock, that means, and you're in San Luis, that it used to be Central Time. Actually, believe it or not, San Luis used to be Central Time, or all of Mexico, like, for example, Monterrey, here in San Miguel, used to be Central Time. But the president decided that we're not going to go. And actually, daylight savings time here in Mexico used to be a week after it changed in the United States. But now the president said, no more confusion. Mexico's not changing. The only places that change are the border towns, because they need to keep in sync, I guess, because I guess there's a lot of going back and forth on the border towns. So they didn't want to confuse people. So, for example, in Reynosa is Central Time. So that's probably what confused you. But yeah, we started an hour ago, but that was 5 o'clock Mexico time, 6 o'clock Central Time. And I always put Central Time because I have a lot of viewers from the United States that are thinking of coming here. And if I say 6 o'clock Mexico time, people get confused. So, and Central, some people use Eastern time, some people use Pacific time, but I always use Central time because that way people can figure 1 or 2 or 3 ahead or behind. So, and it's funny because now that Mexico doesn't change time with the right now in the spring, when we spring forward, will be what they when they fall back during the fall. Now, I'm sorry, when they fall back, it's going to be the same time. But when you spring forward, when the United States springs forward, that means and unless the time changed already. So Lobo at Lobo Sola, you are absolutely right. Ernie's YouTube channel, no hidden agenda. Actually, you know what, Karen? Because I'm thinking now that in the fall they were supposed to fall back and equal us. Let me make sure on my clock to see if the Central Standard Time. You may be right. Actually, this is one of the times that I need to be. Oh my gosh. You are totally, hold on. You are totally right, Karen. The time changed on me. And you are totally right, Karen. I apologize, everybody. You are right. The time, you know what? Exactly what I was just explaining hit me. Karen you made me think about that. Actually, thank you very much, Karen, for reminding me that if I don't keep track of the time. Actually, Karen was right. I actually started an hour early. Because I was still thinking that we were still, but of course, with daylight savings time falling back an hour, we are now Central Standard Time. Thank you very much, Karen, because I would have made that mistake next week. Thank you. Thank you very much for correcting me. And like I said, I'm the first one that'll say, thank you for correcting me. I was wrong. And I was sitting there trying to explain to you, oh, Mexico doesn't change time. And then, wait a second, it's probably, she's right, because they fall back. Now in the spring, we won't be Central Time. We'll be 1 hour behind. Wow. Actually, when did the time, Karen, if you can tell me when the time changed back to Central, when the daylight savings time, I need to keep track of the daylight savings time. I really do. Believe it or not, I have been keeping track because last year they just quit doing daylight savings time here. Lobo Solo. Yeah, you're right. I've been speaking Spanish for about 30 plus years and I'm learning differences about expressing things. Yes, it can be frustrating, but it takes time. Yes, it is. It does. Sister Golden Hair, I did feel white prejudice in Brownsville, but not Mexico. Actually, Sister Golden Hair, I will tell you something. Without going into details, I was I was raised down in South Texas in the sense. Um, the valley, they call it the valley where you were at, is a very different animal. It's kind of strange. It's mostly it's got a Hispanic population. Uh, so I can see where you're coming from without going into details because I know the culture down there. And Mexico is a lot more welcoming than South Texas to a foreigner, to be honest with you. South Texas has to do a lot. Actually, even me being raised, I arrived in South Texas when I was 8 years old. I'm brown, so you would think, okay, you're brown. There's a lot of people that don't even speak Spanish in South Texas, so it's not a matter of, but it's a very closed community. I never really fit in, even being from 8 years old all the way up. I was always considered an outsider. It's a very different, different world down there. I can attest to what you're talking about, but I really don't want to go into details, but and I don't want to criticize the valley in the sense, but yet it is a different world. If you put in the effort, the Mexican people will help you out and make things enjoyable. Speaking Spanish, that is. Yes. And a lot of times they'll let you struggle and they know exactly what you're trying to say. Um, I thought it was very noisy in San Miguel and not many Mexicans spoke English, which was fine with me. Yeah, probably Angie, if you were thinking it was you when you were in San Miguel de Allende, it was probably pretty noisy. Hold on just one second. Uh, it's even noisy now because it's the period of the preparation for the coming of the Virgin of Guadalupe. So every day there's a festivity. There's a lot of festivities here. There's a different saint every day. I don't know. A day ago, I saw everybody riding their horses into town. There was some patron saint that they were. There's a lot of noise downtown if you stay downtown. That's one of the things that I tell people in San Miguel. Some of the neighborhoods that are affordable, that you can get rent for real inexpensive, it's very loud because you're downtown. It can get very loud downtown. Now, I live in a very quiet area. I hear the fireworks going off, but it's not loud enough to cause me any issues like it does other people. And I don't know. There's a lot of people that speak English here, but it depends where you go. Like when I was talking about people speaking English, I was in City Market. We went to get actually a popcorn that we couldn't find anywhere else. We went to City Market, but you got to remember all 90% of the people that are sitting in City Market are all foreigners that go there. So yes, I was hearing nothing but English. Now, do I go to areas in San Miguel where nobody speaks English? Yes. Now downtown, it's come and go and hit and miss. A lot of waiters speak perfect English. Actually, a lot of the service personnel here are people that lived in the United States for years and maybe got deported or whatever and decided not to go back to or try to go back to the United States and stayed here. But they speak perfect. I even met a couple of people that were raised in the United States and then later on got deported and got into the service industry here. And they speak perfect English, actually. But Sister Golden here, I'm learning Spanish via apps. Oh, good. There's a lot of apps that are good at it. The thing with apps, Sister Golden Hair, is I use Pimsleur because I can relate to it. Other people use Rosetta Stone, which I thought was for me worthless because it's like pictures but some people associate with pictures better than what. So as long as that app's working out for you, but if it's not working out, try another app too. There's a bunch of them. Anywhere in the world, people help if you try to speak. Yes, especially that's true. Especially if you're an English speaker from the USA, we have a stigma that we expect everyone to speak our language, and that's true. Jay Gomez, very true. There is a big stigma. Um, it's a big stigma, big time. And the universal language is not English. It's whatever that country has. Um, there are and I will tell you this because I experienced it in the diplomatic community. There are certain things that are conducted in English no matter where for diplomatic reasons or whatever, but that's at a high level of government. And that's for a reason of keeping everything uniform between the different countries that are allied together. They do their documents in English or whatever, but that's because of diplomatic reasons and everything else. That's not because that English is the universal language. In Latin America, a lot of things are done in Spanish. As a matter of fact, Brazil is a Portuguese speaking country, but a lot of their legal documents are in Spanish because they have to deal with other Spanish speaking countries. So it's not because Latin America Spanish is the official language, because if you look at Latin America, there's Brazil who speaks Portuguese. So it's not it. We have a problem with talking about universal. There's no such thing as a universal language. And Sister Golden, how safe is Matamoros today? I don't know how long ago you lived in Brownsville, because Matamoros is on the other side of Brownsville. But let's just say you can't cross into Matamoros anymore. It's not safe at all. I understand you're married, Ernie. Are there available women in Mexico that you know of? Maybe I should be asking your wife. LOL. Not really. Actually, we most of the people that we deal with are all married. But you know what, Jim? I will tell you. You said you were 67. We were out the other night. Believe it or not, I actually even at this event that I was at, that I helped live stream. Actually, I put a link to it as a jazz concert. Uh, there were a lot of older ladies that were single or divorced or widowed that live here. Believe it or not. So, oh, super chat from Sister Golden Hair. Thank you so much for the super chat. Um, that popped up on the screen there. So believe it or not, Jim, depending where you're at, Querétaro, um, as far as I don't know the dating scene, and I don't know what the dating scene is here. To be honest with you, like I said, we only deal with other couples that are married, but I do know that we went out the other night and with Bill and his wife, the people that own the theater that I helped with the live stream, and there was a lot of people there, believe it or not, that were on both sides, men and women, a widow, divorced, stuff like that. Yes, gringos are us. It is now 6:03 Central Time here in Mexico and the U.S. We were on Mountain Time before last weekend. Actually, it was last weekend. Okay, so I was still good last weekend. Thank you, Gringos are us, for letting me know. But actually, who was it that Karen was? Karen Clifford. Karen, I promise you. Yep, Karen just told me right now. The time changed in November 5th on the USA. By the way, I'm your new moderator. This is my wife's account. Oh, okay, yeah. Karen Clifford. Clifford. Yes, last name. And actually, I'd love to thank you. Actually, you were the one that actually came in and you were the one that actually came in and intervened with Gringos or Us, what I was talking about at the very beginning. And actually, you're probably going to have to go back to see what I was talking about, but I was referring to that conversation about the cancer in the water, and you came in uh, and you're thank you for offering your help and being a moderator. And of course, this is the super chat from Sister Golden Hair. Great channel you have. Thanks for all the info that you give. Thank you, Sister Golden Hair. Good answer. And that's a safe way to answer that question. LOL. Yeah. Well, you know what? Whether it's safe or not, there is a, I guess you might say, all I know is what I witnessed here in San Miguel. I don't know about other places as far. I think you're talking about the dating scene, if I'm not mistaken, right? But I do know that Querétaro's a little bit more of a younger crowd. I guess a lot of people that uh, come to Querétaro are young professionals. So yes, thank you for dealing with it. Yeah. And this was a discussion about the water being contaminated. Excuse me for just 1 second here. And I get it. The water's contaminated everywhere in the world, to be honest with you. The air is contaminated. Um, we have issues in the States where, I mean, some water's contaminated with radioactive waste. Uh, and, you know, to be criticizing a YouTuber because they're in Merida is telling you that there's great food, and then they're, oh, but you got cancer causing water. And by the way, Gringos Are Us, I did research that myself after this while this was going on. And there have been studies on this supposed quote, quote, cancer, rise in cancer rates here in Mexico and Merida in Pacific, or in Mexico, not in Merida in specific, but actually the scientists have not declared the water the cause of the cancer. There is rising cancer rates here in Mexico, but what the scientists have come to a conclusion is that it's a perception that the water's causing the cancer, but there's not enough scientific evidence to show that water's causing cancer. So just by the way, that I did look into it, and you were right too. All those studies that were stated, and also all these articles that he kept on posting, were from not legitimate newspapers. I mean, they were just news blogs, and nowadays you can't tell which is real and which is not. It wasn't from one. It wasn't from the BBC or from some big, or Forbes magazine or some big. They were all articles that we're talking about, which was, you're right. Probably. Exact. You know what? It's probably rising due to my cigars. LOL. You know what, Mark? Your cigars, the food you eat, nothing even is nowadays. There's a lot of stuff in the grocery stores that's GMO, and I know that individual who he is. And he actually lives kind of like in the country. He even runs a Facebook group, kind of like living off grid type thing. But I guarantee you that even though he grows his own vegetables and all of that stuff, he's probably actually exposed to carcinogens also. There's nowhere you're going to go that you're going to escape it. And that's why I said it's a worldwide problem. You take care of yourself again. Thanks. Have to go. Great open chat. Dios bendiga. And bless you too, Lobo Solo. And we'll see you around. And actually, I think it's time to. I went over my hour. Actually, last time I went 2 hours, but this time I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up with that. And we're gonna keep an eye out for. I might just surprise people at any moment. And actually, I think you're gonna be surprised with where we're planning. But here's the thing: this is so spontaneous. Where we're planning to go Tuesday. Oh no, maybe it's not Tuesday. Maybe it's Wednesday. Or maybe we're actually planning to go tomorrow. Where we're planning to go, we might not plan. We might not end up going. So that's what's great about this vlog is I don't know where I'm going to end up. We're planning, and the other thing too is a lot of it depends on cell phone service. So we might plan to go to one place, and we might not be able to broadcast from there because I might not have good enough signal. So we may have to switch places. So that's what's so great about this little vlog thing that I'm doing. And that way I can be live and informative, and you can ask me questions, or if you forgot to ask me something tonight, you can ask me at any time. We're still going to continue this. I will start producing videos again. I promise. It's just that I have been very busy. Everything from planting grass in our little garden in the front to also, like I said, we had a live stream production the other night that took up a good portion of my time because it's the first time that I've ever done it, and several of the other team members had done it, what they were doing. I mean, the venue and everything else. So it took up a good portion of my time. And thank you very much, Gringos Are Us, but also thank you very much for reminding me that it's Central Time now. And you know what? I need to keep up. You know what? I'm enjoying retirement so much in Mexico. I don't even keep up with the time the time zones anymore in the United States. See, that's how great Mexico can be. You don't even have to worry about the time zone. And I don't even worry about what day it is. I know it's Sunday. Sometimes I even like, shoot, today's the day I have a live stream or whatever, or I have to schedule it. I don't keep track of days nowadays because of my schedule. So all of y'all, thanks, and we'll be in touch. And actually, I will fix my chat over here to go all the way up like it was before. I've been, just to let you know, I've been experimenting with another live stream software, but it has nothing to do with the software I'm using here. But for the event type stuff, I might be streaming more events. I will leave links if you guys are want to see those concerts, and if you want to see those concerts, I'll leave links. But I'm also the account that I use to put this chat up. I had to sign up for another account, and because I'm using another streaming software with an iPad and some special cameras. And long story, but I was like having to get the widget back up again, and I chose the wrong one. but I promise I'll fix it so it's not just coming out and disappearing. And one last comment: everybody's saying thank you. Looking good. Forward to doing that interview. Yes, and Actual Gringos Us. As soon as I get some time, we'll sit down and interview you guys, see where you're at. I like to keep up with you guys and everything else, and and let everybody know what's going on with you guys. And there are so many beautiful Sierra Madre Occidental towns within the state of Sinaloa that I would love to return to or visit for the first time. Better safe than uncertainty. Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty like there for right now, Laura. There's been a lot of uncertainty in that area for a while. Have a good night. Take care. Thanks. And Bill. Oh, Bill's here. I was just talking about still having to catch up with you, Bill. Special cameras are good. Yeah, I'm getting some special cameras for this new live stream. So it's good to know that you're doing good. And Wilfredo, thank you. And Bill, thanks for dropping in. We still need to do that interview. But I actually, when I told you I lost the video footage, now I'm back in San Miguel, so I have to get everything back together again. But I will definitely reach out to you so you can schedule and we can do that interview. Laura, thank you for your observation. Bill, yes. And thanks, Bill, for dropping in. And everybody else, I want to thank you. I thank you guys for your support. And I couldn't be more blessed with the community I have on Facebook. And yes, every once in a while, someone comes around and decides to be a jerk. And my policy is I don't tolerate it, and I throw them out of my Facebook group. But I don't throw people out of my Facebook group just because. I just don't tolerate it. I was also made aware of somebody that was trying to scam people that was coming on. Actually, our new moderator let me know about a certain individual that was contacting people. And if you have any issues with anybody, report it. If you want any certain videos done, let me know in the comment section. And I am more than blessed with the community I have. And you know what? I don't care if I have, I don't need a YouTube button. I don't need 100,000 viewers so I can show off a YouTube button. I've got the best 8,000 and I don't know how many. Actually, I don't even keep track. 8,000 and something. I have the best 8,000 and something subscribers that anybody could ask for. It's better than a YouTube button. It's better than 100,000 subscribers. It's better than 15 or 20 because I know I have a quality community, and that's what I want to build, is a quality community between here, between Instagram. I don't keep up on Instagram as much or on Twitter at all, but between here and Facebook, and I have the best quality audience that I can ask for. And thank you. And we'll see you next week or we'll see you sooner than next Sunday. Hopefully, I can get some videos out soon. And like I always say, stay safe and stay informed.